What if the Templars' secrets didn't die with them? Legends of hidden treasures, ancient relics, and forbidden knowledge still haunt their legacy. Their white tunics and red crosses became symbols of hope and fear, but behind their noble mission lay a web of intrigue that led to their shocking downfall. They were bankers, warriors, and monks all at once, but their immense power made them enemies, and those enemies brought them to their knees. What's the truth behind their mysterious rituals and alleged connections to the Holy Grail? And could their curse on King Philip IV and Pope Clement V have been confirmed, or just a chilling coincidence? Keep watching, because the Templars' story isn't just history, it's a mystery that baffles experts and inspires legends. The power of the Knights Templar. After the First Crusade ended in 1099, Christian knights successfully took control of Jerusalem, making it a significant holy city for Christian pilgrims. Thousands of believers from across Europe began traveling to the Holy Land to visit the sacred sites. However, the journey was treacherous. The roads leading to Jerusalem, especially from the coastal cities, were plagued by bandits, mercenaries, and hostile forces. These attackers would ambush unarmed Christian travelers, often robbing and even massacring entire groups of pilgrims. Reports spoke of hundreds being slaughtered along the dangerous paths. The situation became so severe that it threatened Christian access to the Holy Land, leading to a growing demand for protection. The birth of the Knights Templar. In response to this crisis, a French knight named Hugues de Payens took a bold step. In 1119, he, along with a few other knights, approached King Baldwin II of Jerusalem and the Patriarch of Jerusalem, seeking permission to form a group dedicated to defending Christian pilgrims. Baldwin II, realizing the need for a strong military force that could protect travelers, granted his approval, and thus the Knights Templar was born. At its founding, the order was remarkably small, consisting of only 9 knights who swore religious vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Their initial lack of wealth was symbolized by their emblem, 2 knights riding a single horse, signifying their modest means. Despite their noble cause, the early years of the Templars were tough, with little financial support or resources. However, things soon took a dramatic turn when they gained the backing of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, one of the most influential religious figures of the time. Recognition and rapid growth. Saint Bernard, a powerful church leader and a supporter of religious military orders, became the Templars' greatest advocate. He wrote extensively about their bravery, discipline, and devotion to God, portraying them as the ideal Christian warriors, both monks and soldiers. His writings helped the Templars gain credibility and attract attention across Europe. As a result, in 1129, the Catholic Church officially recognized the Knights Templar during the Council of Troy, marking a major milestone in their rise to power. With this newfound legitimacy, the Templars quickly gained financial and political support from nobles, kings, and commoners. Wealthy lords and monarchs across Europe donated vast sums of money, land, and resources to the order, allowing them to expand rapidly. Even the Pope himself granted them special privileges, such as tax exemptions, meaning they did not have to pay any royal or church taxes, complete independence from local authorities, making them answerable only to the Pope, freedom to travel anywhere, enabling them to move across borders without restrictions. This support turned the once poor order into one of the wealthiest and most powerful organizations in medieval Europe. The rise of a military powerhouse. With increasing wealth and resources, the Knights Templar transformed into a formidable military force. They established well-trained armies, built strongholds and castles, and took part in major battles across the Holy Land. Their military discipline and fearless combat skills made them one of the most effective fighting forces of the Crusades. One of their most notable victories occurred in 1177 during the Battle of Montgisard. A relatively small force of just 500 Templar knights played a crucial role in defeating a massive Muslim army of over 26,000 warriors, led by the renowned Muslim general Saladin. This victory demonstrated the Templars' strategic brilliance and military prowess, further solidifying their reputation as elite warriors. Beyond the battlefield, wealth and banking. While many Templars fought on the front lines, others played vital roles in administration and finance. Managing the vast wealth they had accumulated, the Order became pioneers of an early banking system. Pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land could deposit money at a Templar preceptory in Europe and receive a written document that allowed them to withdraw funds upon arrival in the Holy Land. This innovative system protected travelers from bandits and made long-distance transactions much safer. Through this banking network, the Templars gained immense economic power power, handling the finances of kings, nobles, and even the church itself. Over time, they acquired land, castles, farmlands, fleets of ships, and trade routes, further increasing their influence. They even came to own and govern the entire island of Cyprus, an important strategic base for crusaders traveling to the Holy Land. The Templars in Spain and Portugal. While their main focus remained in the Middle East, the Templars also played a significant role in the Reconquista, the Christian effort to reclaim Spain and Portugal from Muslim rule. They fought alongside local Christian kingdoms, helping to push back the Moors. However, despite their military presence, the Templars never became as dominant in the Iberian Peninsula as they did in the Holy Land. Local military orders such as the Order of Santiago and the Order of Calatrava held more influence in Spain and Portugal, a legacy of power and influence. By the late 12th century, the Knights Templar had become one of the most powerful and influential organizations of the medieval world. Their extensive network of fortresses, their financial expertise, and their military successes made them central players in the Crusades. Beyond their military efforts, their banking system laid the groundwork for modern financial institutions, and their influence shaped European politics for decades. Despite their immense success, however, their story would eventually take a dark turn, leading to their downfall in the early 14th century, but until then, they remained a dominant force, shaping history through their battles, wealth, and unwavering influence. The early battles of the Knights Templar. The early days of the Knights Templar were not easy. When they first started fighting in the Middle East, they lost several battles because the Muslim armies, like the Seljuk Turks, used strategies different from those of the Templars in Europe. However, the Templars learned quickly and became important military advisors for the Christian leaders in the region. The first recorded battle they fought was in 1138 in Tekoa, south of Jerusalem. Their leader at the time, Robert de Craon, led them to take back the city from the Muslims. At first, they won, but soon after, the Muslim forces regrouped and managed to take it back. As time passed, the Templars didn't just protect Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. They started fighting in major military campaigns. Their first castle was far from the main pilgrimage route in Antioch, where they were given strongholds like Bagras and Darbsak. They were already stationed there when the Byzantine Emperor John II Komnenos tried to take control of several Crusader states, and they joined him in battles against Muslim forces in Syria. The Templars also expanded their role in Spain, where they helped Christian forces fight against the Muslim rulers. In 1147, a group of Templars from France, Spain, and England joined the Second Crusade under King Louis VII of France. Before leaving, Pope Eugenius III officially allowed them to wear the Red Cross on their uniforms. The Templars played a key role in protecting the Crusader army as they traveled through dangerous lands filled with Turkish raiders. Once they arrived, the Christian leaders decided to attack the city of Damascus, but the siege failed and they were forced to retreat. Some Templars then traveled to Spain, where they helped capture the town of Tortosa. Robert de Craon died in 1149, and Everard des Barres became the new Grand Master. After the failure of the Second Crusade, Muslim forces led by Nur ad-Din Zengi launched a significant attack on the Crusader state of Antioch. In 1149, they defeated the Christian army at the Battle of Anab, killing Prince Raymond of Antioch. King Baldwin III of Jerusalem rushed to help, bringing 120 Templar knights and 1,000 other soldiers. This forced Nur ad-Din to agree to a truce, preventing him from advancing further. During the winter of 1149 to 1150, King Baldwin III rebuilt the fortress in Gaza, which had been left in ruins. The city was important because it was part of a defense system meant to protect the Crusader kingdom from attacks by Egyptian forces. Baldwin gave control of Gaza to the Templars, making it their first significant stronghold. In 1152, Everard des Barres stepped down as Grand Master, and Bernard de Tremolay took his place. The following year, the Templars helped Baldwin III in the siege of Ascalon, the last Muslim-controlled city on the coast of the Holy Land. After months of fighting, the walls of Ascalon were finally breached. Bernard and 40 Templars rushed into the city ahead of the rest of the army, but no one followed them, and they were all killed. A few days later, the rest of the Crusader army took Ascalon. Bernard's death led to the appointment of a new Grand Master, André de Montbard. With Ascalon under Christian control, the Templars continued to operate from their base in Gaza. In 1154, they attacked an Egyptian leader named Abbas, who was trying to escape to Damascus after losing a political battle. The Templars killed him and captured his son, later returning him to the Egyptian rulers. In the late 1150s, the Egyptians fought back, launching raids on on Crusader lands near Gaza and Ascalon. Despite these attacks, the Templars remained a powerful force, defending their territory and playing a significant role in the battles of the Crusader states. The rise and fall of the Knights Templar. In the mid-12th century, things started to change in the Crusades. Muslim forces became stronger under leaders like Saladin, and Egypt gained more power. Meanwhile, Christian groups in the Holy Land started fighting among themselves, which made things worse. The Knights Templar often had conflicts with other Christian military groups like the Knights Hospitaller and the Teutonic Knights. These disagreements weakened the Christian side, and after several failed battles, including the critical Battle of Hattin, the Muslims took back Jerusalem in 1898, 1187. Years later, in 1229, the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II managed to regain the city without the Templars' help, but it only lasted about 10 years before it was lost again in 1244. After that, Christians never controlled the town again until 1917 during World War I, when the British took it from the Ottoman Empire. With Jerusalem gone, the Templars had to move their headquarters to other cities, mainly Acre, which they controlled for nearly a century. But in 1291, they lost Acre, followed by other key locations like Tortosa and Atlit. Their next base was in Cyprus, and they tried to keep control of a small island called Arwad near Syria. In 1300, they planned to work with the Mongols to launch a new attack, but in 1302 or 1303, the Mamluks from Egypt defeated them, and the Templars lost their last foothold in the Holy Land. With no more battles to fight, the Templars started losing support, but even though their military role had faded, they were still a powerful group. They owned land, farms, and businesses throughout Europe and the Middle East. Many people worked for them or used their banking system to keep their money safe. They didn't have to follow local laws, which made them feel separate from other countries. This made European rulers nervous, especially since the Templars seemed interested in creating their state, just like the Teutonic Knights in Prussia and the Knights Hospitaller in Rhodes. Over time, people accused the Templars of using their power unfairly, saying they had corrupt leaders and influenced the law for their benefit. They also gained land and wealth at the expense of local rulers, which made enemies in high places. Eventually, this led to their downfall as kings and church leaders turned against them, ending one of the medieval world's most potent and mysterious orders. In 1305, Pope Clement V, who was living in France, had an idea. He wanted to merge two powerful groups of knights, the Templars and the Hospitallers. So he wrote letters to their leaders, Jacques de Molay, Templars, and Fouque de Villeret, Hospitaliers, asking them to discuss it, but both of them refused. The Pope didn't give up and invited them to France in 1306 to discuss it. De Molay arrived first in 1307, but de Villeret took months. While waiting, de Molay and the Pope spoke about some serious accusations made against the Templars by a former member. Everyone agreed these claims were false, but King Philip IV of France, who owed the Templars a lot of money, saw this as a chance to get rid of his debt. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, King Philip ordered the arrest of de Molay and many other Templars. This is one reason why some people think Friday the 13th is unlucky. The Templars were accused of all sorts of terrible things, like denying Jesus, worshipping idols, and behaving in ways that went against the church. Many of these accusations were lies made up to turn people against them. But under torture, some Templars admitted to these crimes just to stop the pain. One young knight, Raymond de la Fère, confessed, but later said he only did so with his mouth, not his heart. Pressured by King Philip, Pope Clement ordered all Christian rulers to arrest the Templars and take their wealth. Some Templars tried to defend themselves in court, but in 1310, Philip used their forced confessions as proof against them. Many Templars were burned at the stake. The Pope finally gave in and officially ended the Templar order in 1312, giving most of their land and money to the Hospitallers. The Templar leaders, including Jacques de Molay, were sentenced to death. Before he died in 1314, de Molay took back his confession and declared his innocence. He was burned alive, and according to legend, he cursed the Pope and King Philip, saying they would soon face judgment. Strangely enough, both men died within a year. Clement died a month later, and Philip died while hunting. After the Templars were dissolved, some were allowed to live peacefully, while others joined different groups. Instead of punishing them in Portugal, King Denis I changed their name to the Order of Christ, allowing allowing them to continue their work. Centuries later, in 2001, historians found an old document in the Vatican called the Chignon Parchment. It revealed that Pope Clement had forgiven the Templars in 1308, years before officially ending their order. Today, the Catholic Church admits that the Templars were treated unfairly, and that King Philip was the real villain behind their downfall. The Templars were highly organized, much like a military. They had a strict chain of command. Each country where they were present had a leader, but they all reported to the Grand Master, who was in charge of everything. He had assistants who helped with finances, training, and managing supplies. At their peak, there were around 15,000 to 20,000 Templars, but only about 2,000 were actual knights. Even though the Templars no longer exist, their legend lives on. Many people are still fascinated by their stories, hidden treasures, and the mysteries surrounding them. The Knights Templar were a powerful group of warriors during the Middle Ages, known for their bravery and strong beliefs. They started as a small band of knights who wanted to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. Over time, they grew into one of Europe's most feared and respected military groups. Dressed in white tunics with a red cross, they followed strict rules and lived a life of discipline, prayer, and battle training. Their leader, the Grand Master, made important decisions and led them into battle. Other ranks included knights, sergeants, and chaplains, each with a specific role to keep the order strong. They became rich and powerful, not just as warriors, but also as bankers, lending money to kings and nobles. As their influence grew, so did jealousy and suspicion. Some people believed they had too much power, and in the early 1300s, King Philip IV of France turned against them. He accused them of crimes, and many were arrested, tortured, and even executed. 1312, Pope Clement V officially disbanded the Templars, and their treasures and lands were taken away. Even though the group was destroyed, their legacy lived on through legends and stories. Some believe they hid great treasures, while others think they secretly continued their mission. Today, many modern organizations claim to follow the spirit of the Templars, focusing on charity and historic preservation. The Knights Templar remains remembered in books, movies, and conspiracy theories, keeping their legend alive. Their story is one of bravery, mystery, and loyalty, making them one of the most fascinating groups in history. So, what do you think? Were the Knights Templar innocent victims of a greedy king, or did they hide secrets too dangerous to survive? Could their legendary treasures still be out there, waiting to be discovered? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fascinating stories from the past.